Joining us right now, Fox News senior judicial analyst Judge Andrew Napolitano. Judge, good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us. Good morning. I don't know. The midterm elections are so consequential. Yeah. If the House keeps the majority, an investigation into Dianne Feinstein?
I hope not. I mean, I think that Brett Kavanaugh is on the court, and we need to turn another page. That would be as absurd as the suggestion by Jerry Nadler, congressman from Manhattan, who, if the Democrats take the House, is likely to become the chair of the Senate Judiciary Committee, that they will immediately commence impeachment proceedings against Justice Kavanaugh. That is just absurd and never contemplated.
For what, Judge?
Well, you know, he didn't say. My guess is, trying to think the way the Democrats do, is that they will argue that he lied under oath in order to get his job. Now, impeachment only pertains to misconduct in office, but there is authority to say it can address misconduct used to acquire office. But I don't really think the country wants to go there. Brett Kavanaugh will slip into the anonymity that a lot of the other justices have, and in my view, you'll begin to see a lot of unanimous opinions. This is John Roberts, the Chief Justice's M.O. You're not going to show unity by all showing up at a rally in the East Room of the White House, but you will show unity, cross-the-aisle unity by unanimous decisions. It'll raise some eyebrows. But he has to make a decision this afternoon on a case very important to the president, and that is, can somebody who's often a guest on your show, Secretary of Commerce Wilbur Ross, be forced to give a deposition about how the Department of Commerce chose to put questions in the census about immigration and nationality? Federal Trial Court of Manhattan ordered the deposition. Federal Appeals Court of Manhattan ordered the deposition. Wow. Justice Ginsburg stayed the order. Now, when a single justice stays an order, that stay lasts for 24 hours until the other justices vote. So this morning they will take a vote. Question, will Justice Kavanaugh recuse himself from that, or will he vote? I don't think he needs to recuse himself, even though President Trump has an interest in it. He's now on the other side of the government. But we'll see which way he goes.
Boy, that's amazing.
This whole idea of, shaming and this takedown, another example of conservatives being targeted. Right. A report from the Washington Examiner says that Susan Rice's son was allegedly physically assaulted on campus at Stanford for a stand titled "Change My Mind." The freedom of speech and expression. I don't know what's going on here, Judge.
Well, Stanford has, first of all, Stanford is a private institution, but it receives so many federal funds. Its campus is open to the public, like Princeton's. It is required to protect the freedom of speech. I don't know exactly what happened, but it appears that her son does not share his mother's political views, and that he was openly and notoriously supporting the president and was physically roughed up for that by other students. I think, sadly, we're going to see more of this. Hillary Clinton herself has said it's time for us to be aggressive. We'll lay back and be civil once we take the House. And if she's suggesting violence, I don't think she's actually suggesting violence, but people will interpret her words as suggesting violence. We're going to see more of this.
They know what they're saying.
Of course, Judge. They know what they're saying.
They doggone well know what they're saying.
To use your phrase.
To borrow a word that has been thrown at the right, that anything that President Trump says and any Republican, it's a dog whistle to white supremacists and racists. Well, this is a dog whistle as a call to arms.
Yes.
And I don't think that we're overstating.
You're right.
Given the fact that people have been targeted over and over again in restaurants, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, Kirstjen Nielsen, Ted Cruz, you name it. Again, we've heard this from the likes of Maxine Waters and many operatives in the Democratic Party, many left-wing nuts, we're coming for you at your home, at your job, where you eat, where you sleep, where you worship.
If this happens on public property or on private property that receives federal funds, the Supreme Court has condemned what's called the heckler's veto, meaning the crowd cannot silence the speaker, and the police have a duty to make sure the speaker can speak. If it happens on private property like a restaurant, it's up to the owner of the restaurant. Any restaurant owner that would permit this to happen probably should be out of business. How they let this happen to Ted Cruz is beyond me.
Oh,
but Stanford...
Ted Cruz, how about Sarah Sanders being thrown out of a restaurant? How about so many others?
But the court has not ruled on that because it's private property. But a place like Stanford University, technically private but open to the public, the heckler, the crowd, board cannot silence or punish the speaker, and the police have an affirmative obligation to make sure that doesn't happen.
Look, by the way, it's not fear-mongering. This is not fear-mongering. This is discussion about facts and comments that have been made by people on the left. So to call it fear-mongering is just hogwash, and it deserves to be called out.
Do you think Betsy DeVos is going to get real due process back on campuses? Is that process starting with this virus began in the first place?
We have not seen the federal government pursue fairness and due process on college campuses ever until Secretary DeVos came along, and she's being met with fierce resistance. You and I both know what the academia is like. They're going to prevail with the dollars. They're going to have to bribe colleges by giving them money to comply with basic due process.
That's ridiculous.
It is absurd because it costs all of us money. Due process is part of the fabric of the country.
Also absurd is what's going on at the DOJ. Rod Rosenstein, controversial Deputy Attorney General, getting a reprieve from the president on Monday. Watch. The president is not going to fire Rod Rosenstein right now. He is slated to meet with congressional Republicans tomorrow. This is an important meeting, Judge. What's your take?
I don't know what's going to happen because the meeting's going to be in secret. And, of course, I've been an antagonist to these secret meetings for years.
What Rosenstein said is in conflict with what Andrew McCabe said, who is now facing criminal review.
Andrew McCabe, who is being investigated for lying, is now being held up as the person to contradict what Rosenstein said. There are apparently half dozen people in the room, 3 back Rosenstein, 2 back McCabe, so add McCabe and Rosenstein as the others. The president apparently is satisfied that Rosenstein can stay in his job. What we're talking about is this alleged threat, which Rosenstein says was sarcastic. What do you want me to do? Wear a wire? You want me to tape him? You want me to get use the 25th Amendment?
Jim Baker said it was no joke. The lawyer for the FBI told Congress last week it was no joke. This was absolutely the plan to wear a wire, tape the president, and invoke the 25th Amendment. That's from Jim Baker, the FBI lawyer.
Correct. The former FBI lawyer. There's very little the Congress can do about this other than shame him. He can't be impeached for this. They can't affect the budget for this. They could press the president to fire him, but the president, for his own reasons, we just heard him, has decided he's not going to do anything now.
He's going to do it before the midterms. He'll probably do it after the midterms.
But they're also, Andy McCabe and even Baker may be out to get Rosenstein because he also helped write the memo that was behind the firing of Jim Comey, or that was the justification.
The two of them lost their jobs because Rosenstein did what he believed the president wanted.
That's right.
So you got to take that into account as well.
And the president's not going to fire anybody based on a New York Times report. I mean, just the optics of that.
Not before the midterm.
Not before maybe after the midterm.
Look, a lot of people think that in 2 months, the Attorney General of the United States is going to be Lindsey Graham, and he will choose his own deputy. Senator Graham last night said no, but those rumors persist.
Or somebody else. Yeah,
right.
We'll see. Judge, great to see you.
Pleasure, guys.
Thank
All
you.
the
Judge
best.
Napolitano joining us there.